Hey, Bruce. Hey, Bruce. I would really appreciate it if you let me host. You think you can let me host today? Huh? Bush? Please don't give me the cold shoulder, baby. Which baby? I will let you have the heated blanket for extra time today if you let me have my spot. Please don't get into my face and try to have an altercation with me, baby. I just want my spot. I just need my spot. Oh, Rose, I'm literally begging you. Please, baby. Please. You guys. Boys. Hey. Oh, hell no. No, no, baby. No, no, no. This is it. Baby boy. Are we beefing? Are we beefing? Okay, you got a kiss, but that's not cool, baby. Okay. I'm gonna stop recording because I need to evict him. There is no way. I'm not gonna be able to record today if I don't evict him. And I don't want to be canceled for shoving an inky baby off my, oh my god. Okay, he's being a chaos bringer. We got it. Listen, y'all. Okay, if y'all knew what kind of a last few days I've had, y'all would really be applauding me for being on camera right now. On Saturday, it was my mother's birthday, which happy birthday to my mother. She's 59. I'm sure she'd be pissed if she found out I told the internet how old she was, but she's 59. We had dinner there, and I should have known something was amiss when I started experiencing hot flashes, and I just was so uncomfortable while I was there. I thought I was gonna die. Turns out that was the precursor to what turned into 48 hours of puking and shitting. I swear, I think I met God. He said, "No, mija, it's not your time. Go back." I'm thankfully okay, but I'm still pretty afraid to have food. So don't mind me today. Rather than indulging in some kafifi or tea, we are going to be having Gatorade Zero in the flavor watermelon splash. You know what's worse than puking and shitting your brains out for 48 hours? The fact that one of my fictional baby daddies, Austin Butler, shaved his fucking head. I'm going to insert a moment of silence. Who just messed it up? Who? Mike! I get it. Okay, I get it. You only have one father, but in this house, we ride or die for Austin Butler. So let's try this again. We're gonna do a moment of silence for Austin Butler's hair. Please, this is where, if I wouldn't get copyright claimed, this is where we put Angel by Sarah McLachlan. In the arms of the angel. I don't know the words. But when I tell you, I was browsing my Twitter feed. Yes, it's still called Twitter. When I was browsing my Twitter feed and I saw that this man was bald. Bald! I literally was holding a soda, like a bottled soda, and in my horror, I dropped it. I dropped it. And then I was afraid to open it because then I knew it was just going to go everywhere. So, Austin Butler, what? I know this is for a movie role, and I know that you are going to move on and do amazing things because you're a very talented actor. But you've compromised your standing with me because I literally considered you one of the baby daddies in my mind, and now I don't know if I can continue. I don't know if I can go on. I can't go on. Ruined. It's ruined. I've been screaming about it for days. Maybe the stress is what kind of induced the puking and shitting for days. In any case, it's been horrible, y'all. Tragic. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm back because, of course, I'm back. This is Yvonne Ventura in Yvonne Ventura's house. I'm your host, Yvonne Ventura. Which I'm sure some of y'all that aren't Spanish speaking or don't have the accent are probably wondering how to pronounce my name. In white, Yvonne. That's fine. But if you can, Yvonne is my preference. And here is my co-host, Miss Mike. You already met my beautiful tyrant, Mr. Bruce, before. I hope you guys liked that. I just needed to give you guys a sneak peek of what I live with, who runs my house. So, yeah, we are back. If you have liked what you've seen, please feel free to like, subscribe, share. I would appreciate any and all love. I've been getting a ton of love from y'all. We are currently 45 strong. Gang, gang. Yeah, I'm very happy with the support that we've gotten. If you haven't already guessed, today we are going to be doing another Ratchet retelling. Today's Ratchet retelling will be on a book called Chasing Him by Kat T. Masen. Now, if you are ever curious about what I'm going to be Ratchet retelling next, 2 videos ago, I uploaded me browsing Hoopla to go over the books that we were going to be doing for the next few videos. So if you want to know what the 3rd video is going to be, because we picked 3 books that day, go back and watch that video. If I'm fancy and I know how, I might link it below. I do all of this on my phone, so I might or I might not. Can't guarantee anything. But feel free to go look. It is called, I believe it's called Window Shopping. So give that one some love. Give that one some love. But anyway, this book, y'all. It's been a week. Austin Butler shaved his head. I was puking and shitting for days. And I read a shitty book. It was shitty. Spoiler alert. It's not. In no bueno. The book is told ass backwards. I'm gonna do my best. Either I'm gonna tell it as ass backwards as I experienced it, or I'll be nice and try to piece it together so that it makes sense, because I was reading this and it almost felt like this author started the story in the middle of the book, and then I was like, what even is happening? And like some authors do that, and then it's a really engaging, like intriguing read and like mysterious and all that stuff. But this book, it very much is, if you grew up around telenovelas, this is a telenovela. It's a telenovela. We'll get into that when we actually start into the Ratchet retelling. But before I actually get into it, a couple disclaimers. Disclaimer number 1, numero uno. Tell me why my mind just Okay, disclaimer number 1, numero uno. This is a retelling. This is not a review. Meaning, I'm going to be telling you beat for beat what happens in this book. So right now, spoilers up the wazoo. Okay? But, so, if you don't like spoilers, proceed with caution. However, if you are somebody that needs the book spoiled for them to know, does a dog die? Is there a stupid ex-girlfriend? Does the couple even end up together? If these are things that you need to know before you embark on a journey with a book, I am your girl. Disclaimer number 2, numero dos. This is a Ratchet retelling, meaning your girl took notes, but that does not mean that the notes make any damn sense. I may tell you things as backwards, like this author. I might completely omit plot points that are crucial to the story, but because I'm telling it, I forgot. Or I just may be really chaotic about how I share the information, and it won't make any sense to you. And then you'll be able to enjoy the book. That's 2. Number 3, disclaimer numero 3. These books are spicy. Okay, I'm keeping that. That's my thing now. I love it. These books are spicy, meaning your girl is listening to smut in the car, in the club, at work, before bed, getting ready for work. What else do? I don't do anything. Hanging out with my cats. I don't do anything else. That's just what I do. Okay. So, disclaimers done. Intro done. Sudden interruptions by Bruce done. Let's get into it, y'all. All right. So, Chasing Him by Cat T. Masen. This book starts off with a really sad prologue. So, we meet Adriana, who is a new mom. In the prologue, she is freshly postpartum. Baby is 1 week old, and she is in the hospital next to her dying husband named Elijah. Elijah has cancer, and like I said, he's dying, so he's on his deathbed, and he's about to give his last breath, and he tells her that he wants her to be happy and to move on. And all Adriana can really think about is how he refused cancer treatment and just essentially chose to pass away, which to each their own. But for Adriana, who at freshly postpartum, new baby, she takes it as he didn't want to fight for her, and he just kind of gave up. Kind of like how my sister talked about if the zombie apocalypse was going to happen, she would just lay out in the street and just let the zombies get her. This is what Adriana feels when her husband Elijah passes away. Now, because you all seem to love the fact that I fan cast people to give y'all a visual, Elijah isn't really in the book that much, so I just shoved Charlie Hunnam in there because he's beautiful and he's blonde and blue-eyed, and Elijah's blonde and blue-eyed. And their baby son is named Andy, and he looks just like Charlie Hunnam. I mean Elijah. He looks just like Elijah. So that happens. Prologue over. We open the book. We meet Adriana 2 years later. And Adriana is it 2 years? Because she says the kid's 3. 3 years later. Okay. She said 2 years later. I swear to you. But Andy's 3. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This is not the stupidest part of these books. Or this book. This book. It's one book, thank God. So, she is at the daycare because it is bring your dad to daycare day, and all of the dads are showing up with their kids so they can talk about their careers and stuff. And baby Andy is well aware that he does not have a dad that is around because Adriana has told Andy that his dad is working very hard in heaven. So dad's at work in heaven. And thankfully, Adriana does have a support system in her older brother, Lex. Um, Lex, for some odd, inexplicable reason, in the audiobook, the voice actor gives Lex an English accent when everybody else is clearly American. So, um, there's that. But anyway, Lex is, in my mind, played by Will Poulter. Welcome to the house, Will Poulter. I think that you could be better used. There's other better books out there that I have cast you in, and I'm sorry, but this is where you are. So, welcome, Will Poulter. You are Lex, Adriana's older brother. And Lex also has a wife named Char. Her name is Charlotte, because that's what Lex calls her. But she's actually Adriana's best friend, and she mainly goes by Charlie. So Charlie is being played because Charlie's a cool character. So Florence Pugh, welcome to the house. Again, you could be doing bigger and better things, but you're here. So welcome, Florence Pugh. Um, thank you for playing the part of Charlie. Um, so they're there. Um, Lex and Charlotte have two children. They have a toddler named Amelia, um, who is like besties with Andy, and they're at the same daycare together. And they also have like a new baby named Ava, um, that just exists. And so they're there, and they Lex essentially steps in and is kind of like a stand-in for Andy because he doesn't have a dad, and that's to give Adriana some characterization, I guess, because she's just sitting there kind of like moping. But then at the same time, she brings up the fact that she's texting a guy that she's not supposed to be texting. Um, and then you're like, bitch, what? What? You're here with your kid? What? So we find out that Adriana, unfortunately, when she was struggling with postpartum depression and the loss of her husband, um, she tried to end her life. Her family has no idea that she tried to end her life, and she ended up going to like outpatient, like group therapy, and she met a man named Julian, who is hot, sexy, and hot and sexy. Um, we are using Mr. Andrew Garfield for that role. Mr. Andrew Garfield, he is my number one baby daddy. I'm very sorry, Andrew. You can do so much more than this. But you're playing Mr. Julian Baker for the intents and purposes of this retelling. So thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Garfield. So Andrew Garfield is playing Julian Baker. Julian Baker is there because he is a recovering drug addict. He's done some shit. We find out because I'm like, girl, why can't you be with this man other than the fact that he's a recovering addict? So Julian, he used to be engaged to Charlie. So Julian and Charlie were engaged, happily engaged. And then Charlie stepped out on Julian and got with Lex. Broke things off with Julian. Ended up with Lex. Married Lex. Now has two kids with Lex. Now, Julian essentially lost his shit when he lost his girl. Stalked Charlie. And became a drug addict. And then there's also mention of things simmer down. He like goes to treatment. They lose touch. And then Charlie gets into a car accident with Amelia in the car, and Julian saves them, but Lex still hates Julian's guts because of the fact that he's convinced that he's still Charlie's ex-stalker, and he's probably still obsessed with her in Wada Wada. So this is a shit show. Remember, Charlie is Adriana's best friend. Lex is her brother. So she meets Julian in group therapy and immediately is like, this is the man for me. Y'all, I can't make this shit up. I mean, I know that from the synopsis, I picked it, and it was, this book was like, the plot was juicy, and that's what got me to want to read this book. But I thought it was going to be told a different way. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be like, we were going to get into, like, they were going to meet in group therapy, and you'd see the tension building and what have you. You know, I feel like that would have been a more tantalizing, like, fun story to tell. But no, we're already past that. She's texting Julian every day. And she and Julian are like, happy woo, how you doing? Oh, haha, saw this, thought of you. Oh, summer rains. You can never predict them. They're just talking. So they're already in the talking stage, okay? So she's texting Julian, and by the way, Julian is like a rich author, and this bitch is also a rich, like, designer, and she has boutiques in LA. This is where they're in LA. And so Julian texts her, and he's like, oi, I'm in Sydney, mate. That's a really bad Australian accent. But so Julian texts her, and he's like, hey, I'm in Sydney. My book premiere, pull up. And she's over here, and she's like, okay. And so she lies to her family and says that she wants to open a new boutique in Sydney, and she flies out to go meet Julian, and she's already thinking about smashing him. But she's also thinking about how she's only ever been with her deceased husband, Elijah, because she and Elijah got together when she was 17 years old, and that's all she's ever known. Which I honestly don't know how old Adriana is. I don't think I know how old any of them are. They don't say. So this is why I just threw in some actors in their 30s, because I don't know. Again, things that I have issues with. Okay, so as the girl makes it to Australia, and she sees Julian, he's at this party for his premiere. They kiki, they talk for a little bit, and then he has to go off and mingle because it's his book premiere, so he has to, like, network and shit. And she sees him talking to, like, his publicist, and, like, you know, there's women there because, you know, it's a PR event. There's not just gonna be a bunch of dudes. So Adriana starts feeling all insecure, and then she gets shit-faced at the bar with some random old guy. And then Julian notices it, and he's like, hey, you're pretty drunk. I'm gonna take you back to your hotel room. And so then he takes her back to her hotel room, and then she's like, let's smash. Let's smash, Julian. And Julian is like, no, you're drunk. So then that first day is over. And then days go by. This book is so boring, y'all. Okay, so days go by in Australia, and then they finally are smashing, and then she starts thinking about her first husband and how different they feel to each other, because of course, like in any romance book, Julian is hung like a horse. And so she starts crying, and of course that kills the mood. So then he's like, okay, oh my god, Julian's a gentleman. Julian, pan de Dios, in English, you are a bread of God. He halts all production, and he's like, okay, You know what? Let's go take a walk. So then they go take a walk outside, and he starts giving her trivia about boats. Why? I don't know. So they start talking about boats. And then they're walking outside and they're like in the trees. And then Adriana looks at him and she's like, I need you to smash me now. Right now. And he's like, right now? She's like, yeah, right now. I'm feeling the urge right now. On the tree now. Do it now or I'm gonna back out. So then they do stuff among the tree, up against the tree, which that just sounds uncomfortable. Like, you're not worried, girl, you're not worried about like a splinter on your nachos? Like splinter on your cheeks, like because you're over there on the trees, or getting like a fire ant bite on your cheeks, or worse, or something else. You know, it's unhygienic. There's other things that you like, other places. Like, really, you couldn't just like have waited to go back to the hotel room? Nah, on the tree. So then they do things on the tree, and then they go back to the hotel room, and it's until the paint comes down the walls. So they smash like crazy, and then after that she goes home, and the first person to reach out to her in LA is Lex, and he's like, hey sister, how's that boutique coming? And she's like, oh, it's going great. It's going great. I'm like, she didn't just get digged down out in Sydney. And so he knows something's up. Like okay, he is an older brother. And if you have older siblings, you know that the thing the older siblings do best is to be up in the younger siblings' business. In their business. So, of course, Lex has friends out in Sydney, and he's like, I don't think you did any snooping out there. She's like, no, I don't think you did any, like, checking out any boutiques. And she's like, what are you talking about? Of course I did. Of course I did. You're tripping. He's like, all right. Mm-hmm. He's skeptical. She's got a glow. So Charlie is like, who you been smashing? So then, okay, I was thinking about omitting this character because this character is wildly offensive to me. But let's talk about it. There is a gay best friend named Eric. His character is so stereotypically offensive that I don't even have I literally wrote on this, uncastable, so offensive, LMAO. Let me just explain why, okay? He's okay without giving like any plot points or anything. There's literally a part of the book when he's taking a picture of the families with the kids, the babies, and he says, instead of saying cheese, he says, everybody say crabs. Not the crustacean, the freaking STI. And that just, can I just say that sometimes, like, when I'm like experiencing books, I say experience because I'm either listening or reading, you get like, there's little tells as to like who somebody voted for in the 2016 and the 2024 election. Like, the gays are not out here pushing their gayness on your kids or being like weirdly like sexual in front of your children. The gays are not doing that. There is no world where a gay man is gonna go up like be around tiny toddlers / 5-year-olds, little kids, and being like, hey kids, say gonorrhea. Like, there's no world where that happens. Anyway, Eric knows about Julian because Eric is dating Julian's cousin. Other than that, like there's just some like beef because Charlie's the best friend. Eric knows something that Charlie doesn't, so she's feeling kind of resentful that the bestie knows something that she doesn't. Other than that, like he's not really moving the rug when it comes to the plot. Other than just being horrifically like a horrifically offensive stereotype of what a gay man in LA is, or just gay man in general. Anyway, they're having brunch. Charlie's like, "Hey, you're glowing. Is there a man?" And Adriana's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And at that moment, her phone pings and it's Julian. He goes, "Hey, come get some." You know what this bitch does? She gets up and goes and gets some. Why? Where is your child care? I Again, Lex knows something's up. There's a scene where Julian goes to her house, dicks her down real good in her house, and then the next morning, Lex is at her front door and he knocks. He's like, "Hey sis, hey sis." Julian stayed the night, okay? He dicked her down so good he stayed the night. And so now Adriana's freaking out because she's like, "Oh my God." Thankfully, Julian had already left. Like he left hella like early in the morning because he knows what's going on. He knows it's messy. He doesn't want Lex to find out because Lex wants to kill him and what like blah blah blah. And so she opens the door and she's like, "Lex, what the hell are you doing here? Like, why are you knocking on my door?" And Lex is like, "Oh, you know, just wanted to see if my nephew just want to see if my nephew wanted to hang out with me today." And she's like, "Okay, that's fine. You can hang out with Andy." You know, just nosy older sibling shit. Things they continue to secretly meet. Oh, they secretly link up. She meets up with Julian and in his hotel room. Cause I didn't even mention he came back from he came back from Sydney to be in LA because he wants to be with her because he's falling for her or whatever. So she meets up with Julian in his LA hotel room, in the hotel motel Holiday Inn, and he rather than a traditional encounter where Julian would enter the house through the front door, he enters through the back door with Adriana while they're against a glass facing the balcony that leads outside, and there's people on the ground. I feel like this author was just writing nasty shit to write nasty shit. I put a word on the hotel balcony, WTF. And then so the D is great. She's loving the date, okay? She's sneaky linking as much as she can, and he's like, "I need it every day." And she's like, "Yeah." So they're having great stuff. But then when they start to talk about their feelings, she starts crying because she feels guilty about Elijah. And then she starts crying because then she starts comparing herself to Charlie because she also subconsciously thinks he's still stuck on Charlie. And he's like, "No, I'm not stuck on Charlie. I wouldn't be pursuing you if I was stuck on Charlie. And if I was still stuck on Charlie, do you really think I would, like, after everything I've been through, the fact that I got into cocaine because of this woman, The fact that, like, my own, like, for my own sanity, I'm supposed to stay far away from this woman. Why would I pick you, of all people, who is directly connected to the girl I used to stalk? Why? That's not enough for Adriana. So she cries and constantly is comparing herself to Charlie, asking about Charlie. He's like, bitch, I'm so sick of this conversation. And so then finally, she's like, I don't think I know you. We're just smashing. I don't like what you never tell me where you are. You just tell me like or like what you're doing every day. You're just like, hey, what are you doing? Let's link up. And then she goes. And he's like, I don't tell you that because I don't want to smother you. And he says multiple times that he wants to take things slow with her. And Adriana is just crying all the time. And I get that she's a grieving woman, but if you are a grieving woman, why are you doing this if you're clearly not ready? Bruce, thank you. Thank you. Do you have anything to tell the fans? You agree? Yeah, you agree. Again, make it make sense, y'all. All right. So then it doesn't stop there. She goes to a party. Bruce is on my lap, by the way. So she goes to a party, and um, Charles. Hi. That is the seldom seen Charles Xavier Norris, my ginger cat. He's my cat, but he's technically my husband's cat. Like, he has no allegiance toward me. He doesn't care about me. The only ones that care about me are Miss Mike and Bruce, who's chilling right here. So anyway, I believe it's Eric's birthday party, and they all being Lex, Charlie, Adriana, they go to this party, and Charlie's acting funny. No, not Charlie. Adriana's acting funny because she's doing that thing. You know when like you are freshly like in the talking stage and you're like happy and you're kicking your feet because the person texts you and you're like replying, and Lex is like, who's that? Who are you talking to? He's like trying to look over at her phone, and she's like, you know, typical sibling shit. Typical older, younger sibling shit. And so he's looking at her funny. The party continues. She's still texting with Julian, who is sending her dick pics. Because why wouldn't he? Lex gets drunk enough that he is so fed up with his sister shit that he jacks his sister's phone. And he's like, hey, who the hell you talking to? Let me look. And from the dick alone, from the dick alone, he is able to identify that is Julian's dick. Like, how do you know? How do you know, Lex? How do you know what it looks like? Anyway, Lex loses his shit. Charlie's like, why are you losing your shit? And so then she looks at the phone. Of course, Charlie makes sense because that was her fiance. So then she looks at Adriana, and she is definitely the bigger person because she is able to put her history with Julian aside and prioritize her best friendship with Adriana. Lex loses his shit. He punches a wall. He's so drunk. So then they leave. They being the girls, they go back to Adriana's house. Adriana tells Julian, hey, my brother knows. Charlie comforts Adriana, reassures her like, hey, what happened between Julian and I happened way long ago, because she's emotionally intelligent and mature. She's like, listen, I see how happy he makes you. He is a great guy. Unfortunately, things didn't work out because I was always in love with your brother. So, if this is who you want for you to be your person, adelante, go ahead. You would think that this would resolve Adriana's insecurities. Spoiler alert, it does not. Because this bitch is not ready. She's not ready, Bruce. Not at all. But she's insistent. So then, she's not talking to Lex for a little bit. And then finally her parents, who again, weren't really in the book much. Well, the mom was, but then they're like, let's have a family lunch. We know about Julian. Let's just all get together, hash it out. Your brother said he was going to behave. Just come over. They have a really awkward lunch. Lex keeps saying some one-liners about Julian. Julian's being real suave, real smooth, whatever. Lex and Charlie get real busy in the backyard really loudly because Lex is crazy and he's trying to stake his claim on his woman because he's still convinced that Julian's only dating his sister to get with Charlie. So that's awkward. Julian's uncomfortable. So then they leave because, of course, he's like, why the hell do I want to listen to that? That's weird. And Adriana takes it to mean that he's so stuck on Charlie that it pained him to see Charlie happy with somebody else. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure if you saw some people boning in the backyard, you wouldn't want anything to do with that environment. But whatever. So then, yes, worse. Now there's a Halloween party. I believe Eric is hosting the Halloween party. Everybody goes dressed up. Charlie dresses up as Wonder Woman. Julian goes as Batman. I don't remember everybody's costume. It was kind of pointless. But Adriana is just, her insecurities are coming to a head because Charlie apparently looks good. The bitch is body. She looks fantastic. She's stacked. Charlie, I'm Team Charlie. She looked freaking amazing. And so what's Adriana do? Woo. She's just crying and looking at Charlie looking amazing. And she's feeling resentment because she and Julian are very civil. And they share a few laughs because they're being civil, keeping their distance from each other. And she thinks that Julian is totally flirting with Charlie. And they're just, she's just being insecure. I really hate an insecure protagonist. I just cannot. But anyway, this is what Adriana's doing. She ends up interrupting their perfectly civil, quiet conversation. And then Adriana is like, if you didn't tell me, like, hey, if you didn't tell me that you and my brother were like really happy together, I wouldn't think so with the way that you're over here dressed like a slut and flirting with my man. What? This is your best friend. And your best friend literally was, whatever, bitch. Now Adriana calls her sister-in-law a slut. Sister-in-law and best friend. She goes, you slut. Julian is like, whoa. Lex comes in. He's like, don't talk to my wife this way. What the hell? And then Julian, finally in this moment, he snaps. And he's like, listen, you're clearly not ready for this. I have tried. I'm falling. Like, I love you. I don't know why they love each other. But point is, they love each other. He's like, I love you, but this too much. Like, there's a limit here. If you're going to be this insecure and toxic, I can't. I will be here for you when you're ready, but I can't do this. So Adriana is like spiraling because now she thinks Julian gave up on her, and she thinks that her her deceased husband Elijah gave up on her because he didn't want to go to treatment, and Julian's giving up on her. And I'm like, maybe it's not people giving up on you. Maybe it's just that you have a lot of things that you need to process, and you clearly have a lot of abandonment issues that I'm suspecting did not start with Elijah. I think there's more to it than that, and I don't think we're gonna get Bruce, baby, Bruce, baby. I don't think we're gonna get better writing from the author. There, I said it. How old was this author? 16? What? What? No. Hey. That is my muffin. I'm not bluffing with my lying. I'm not bluffing with my lying. I'm not bluffing with my muffin. I'm just stunning with my love glue gun. Hey. Brewster baby. Has this gone on long enough? Do you think that this has gone on long enough? I don't think so. This book only gets worse. Hey. As promised, this book only gets worse. Till they break up, right? And, wait. Oh, I'm omitting something. Okay. So, deceased husband Elijah's mom is still in the picture. Her name is Mary Jean. I was going to say Mama June. Mama June. It should be Mama June. Mama June is still in the picture because, that she's wants to be around her grandson. Mama June comes by when Julian is around because now the family all knows about Julian. This is before they break up. And Mama June is like, oh, hi. And Julian is like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm boyfriend, potential stepdad. And then Mama June is like, okay, cool. So that happens. Mama June isn't really in the book much. She just kind of feels like her appearances feel very sudden. So anyway, this nasty breakup happens. And Mama June pulls up to Adriana's house and she's like, hey, sweetie, can I borrow $5,000? Times have been tough. And Adriana is like, sure, because this bitch is rich. So $5,000 is like nothing to her. They're all rich and stupid. So anyway, she gives Mama June $5,000 and Mama June is like, oh, bless your heart, thank you. Mama June leaves. Okay? Fine. We've seen Mama June one other time before this. I have no reason to, I'm like, okay, maybe the author just put Mama June in there and there's nothing that's going to happen. Bitch, guess what? Couple days later, Adriana goes to try to pick up her son from daycare. And the daycare is like, his grandpa already came to pick him up. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? He doesn't have a grandpa. Turns out, Mama June used that $5,000 to hire some random man to kidnap baby Andy. And so this happens. Adriana is beside herself. So who does she call? She calls the cops, of course, because you have to. But you know who else she calls? Julian. Because for some reason, Julian has the answers to everything. So she calls Julian, says, hey, my son was kidnapped. And he immediately steps in action. He and Lex are to the rescue. And they meet up with Julian's old drug dealer for some, and they buy a whole bunch of coke off him, because he doesn't. I guess he's like he has ways of getting information, but you need to buy merchandise from him, so they buy a shit ton of coke from him, and then the dealer gives them the exact location of where the dude, the guy that kidnapped Andy went to stay, like the hotel he went to stay. Lex throws away the cocaine, and he's like, "We're not. Nah, if you're gonna be with my sister, you can't be near this stuff. You need to be clean." And this is where he and Julian are like starting to tolerate each other, not hate each other as much. So then they find the guy, they beat up the guy. The guy tells them where Mama June and Andy are. So then they go and they find Mama June, and Mama June OD'd and left a letter, and Andy's just chilling in the other room. This plot makes no sense because why? So I guess Mama June, the reason she decided to do this and unalive herself was because she couldn't move on from losing her son. But then if you were just planning to end your own life, what is the pathology or like the reasoning for kidnapping your child, like kidnapping your grandson? Wouldn't Were you planning to harm the grandson? But then there's no y'all, clearly this woman she's just writing shit just to write shit, okay? No sense. So then they save Andy, and they all get together, and they all Adriana and Julian tell each other their I love yous. They still have things to hash out. Like, I just feel like their relationship is just physical. Like, there's nothing. There's no romance here, okay? There's no romance other than him sending the occasional dick pic and dicking her down good. Like, there's nothing. Please do not take a shot anytime I say dick or dicking down in this video. Please don't do it. I do not want to be the reason why you are in the ER for alcohol poisoning. So, Andy then asks if he can call Julian dad. And then the book ends, and then we get an epilogue, which is even stranger. The epilogue, some reason, she is now making clothes for women in third world countries and traveling the world, and with Julian, and they end up adopting a baby girl, which there is nothing in the book to suggest that Adriana feels a higher calling to anything. Again, this author is just writing things just to write them. Oh, there was also a part where after they had broken up, Adriana went out to the club and she ran into Julian, and Julian had a woman with him. And so Adriana lost her shit because she was like, oh my God, how dare you move on, blah, blah, blah. Again, just insecure, petty shit. And Julian ends up telling her, like, after Andy gets kidnapped and Andy's back home, he's like, oh, that was my sober coach. Ain't nothing. She was my sober coach. And I had her with me because these parties that you kept inviting me to had my coke dealer and all the other coke heads I used to hang out with. So it was really triggering for me. And the breakup, like, I was already feeling weird about these parties. The breakup also made me feel really weird. I was very close to relapsing, so I had my sober coach with me. Again, these are all... Bruce, do not fall. Please do not fall. Okay, Bruce has a very delicate personality, if you haven't noticed. He's very, he doesn't like to be touched unless he's initiating the touch. And so when you try to move him or anything, like, he does not like feeling like he doesn't have control of shit. Like, he is his own cat. So, it's not that he's bad, okay? He's just misunderstood. I understand Bruce because I can be just as prickly. I do not like to be touched, okay? Maybe he has autism just like me. We just have triggers. What was I saying before I started excusing Bruce's behavior? Oh, Julian's doing perfectly rational things. Okay? And it's just, Adriana, can we flush Adriana down the toilet? Or send her, you know what she needs? She needs a good long stay in like a psych ward to like really maybe not a psych ward. Maybe she just needs therapy. She needs a lot of therapy and a lot of time to herself to cope with losing her husband. And there was also some ghost shit that happened. She talked to a psychic and the psychic told her that Julian was the one for her. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Y'all, this book was a mess. Oh my god. Let's hope that the third book that I picked in the last set that we did in the video we did, let's hope that one's good, because these last two books have been some stinkers. I will say, okay, Brutal Ruin, I was way more entertained because that one at least had a plot. A stupid plot, but that one had a plot. This one was just like a soap opera where like random stupid shit kept happening and then Adriana kept crying. And I was so sick of her. Flush her down the toilet. Flush this book down the toilet. All right? That was Chasing Him by Kat T. Masen. Flush it down the toilet. 0 stars. You guys, actors that were in the house, thank you for your performance. That'll be all. I'm so sorry. You guys can do so much better than what I just did for you. Maybe I'll find a way to cast you guys in something else in the future. But for now, thank you guys for your patience. I'm sorry if this video is a mess, but frankly, this book didn't have a lot to work with. That said, if you made it to the end, a sincere thank you, because I genuinely was not feeling this book, and I'm hopeful that the next one we can feel something. But if you guys want something good to listen to, I'm listening to the series on Hoopla. I think the first book is called Lovely Wicked Things. That shit's good. Like, that's good. Delicious. Get into that. If you like, I resent the fact that this book is called a dark romance. Why? What's dark about this? This is a stupid soap opera. Oh, okay. Calm. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. You know what? I think I'm just going to catch y'all in the next one, okay? I'm going to eat my muffin and go cry this off. Thank y'all. Deuces.